Do me for hold this L.
Hold this L.
Hold this L.
Welcome to another episode of Hold This L with your host, Lonnie Capel. We're back in effect, episode 2 of our second season. How you doing, cuz?
What up, bro? Doing good. On the road, back from Shreveport, headed home. Wifey is my little chauffeur, helping us out, helping us with the show. Appreciate you.
I see that. Tell cousin I said thanks for the assist.
Capel said thanks for the assist, baby.
All right, so and we got some good topics to talk about today, and I think we just need to just dive right into it. So this is basketball related, but it's not actually on the court. I know it's been a hot topic, but this Kevin Durant situation, with the comments that he made to Michael Rappaport. So for those who don't know, Michael Rappaport is a comedian. He's well known, but not as a comedian. He's well known because he's very abrasive. He's very boisterous. He says a lot of unpopular things, and so people know him because of that. But he's also a very avid NBA fan. He goes to a lot of NBA games. He hates LeBron for some reason. I don't understand why, but he hates LeBron. That's a little off topic, but so him and Kevin Durant have supposedly had a relationship, and Kevin Durant just went off on him, and Michael Rappaport thought it was okay to share those comments with the world. And now Kevin Durant is really looking bad for some of the stuff that he said. But just in general, man, what's your thoughts on the situation?
Straight buster move. Man, you don't do that. And look, I like Michael Rappaport. I like him a lot. I really do. I think he's hilarious. Always kind of respected his kind of sports knowledge. He makes some good points. Some of his stuff don't make sense, but a lot of the times he got good points. You can tell he's an avid sports fan. But to come out and put that out there, man, that was a straight buster move, man. It's everything that you did was totally against the G code, the man code, whatever code you want to say. You don't do that. I don't care what he said, what he told you. That was private. It should have stayed private.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. Michael Rappaport, he definitely was wrong for letting that out. It don't matter how bad it got. You handle that. You figure out a way to handle it. You don't let the world know. I mean, if he was a regular dude, you wouldn't have put the comments out there because it wouldn't have mattered. You would have figured out a way to deal with the situation. So you don't use his fame as a way to get back at him when the conversation was private. But to Kevin Durant, man, you got to be smarter than that, man. You got to be smarter than that. Right. You are a world-class athlete. You're one of the most popular basketball players in the world. You have to know that even if you trust somebody's not going to put you out like that, you just still don't say it. What if his phone would have got hacked and then somebody put it out? The fact that you sent it was the irresponsible part. If y'all were face to face or something, okay, but you put it on paper, you typed it. It ain't on paper, but you wrote it down. It's like a contract. So you can't deny that it came from you. You got to be smarter than that, Kevin Durant. Got to be smarter than that.
I agree.
And I was listening. I'm not listening to Michael Rappaport, but I was listening to some reports that Michael Rappaport actually said that they used to have a relationship, and then it just kind of went south. I saw some videos on what happened as far as why it went south. He said, but he according to Michael Rappaport, he said Kevin Durant had been going at him for months. This has been ongoing for months. And I ain't gonna say it's just been Kevin Durant. Probably Michael Rappaport has some stuff to say too. But he said Michael Rappaport basically made it seem as if he was done with it. But Kevin Durant just kept coming at him in the messages, and this is why he felt like he needed to put the stuff out. My thing about Kevin Durant is, hey, this is just another example of this boy being super sensitive. I've said it before.
He is.
Dude, grow up.
He's very very sensitive. I kind of have a side to that, and I kind of see where you're coming from with that. But at some point, you mad at a person for being who they are. We've clearly known it's the track record. He's sensitive. He's gonna let his feelings be shown. He's gonna let his feelings be known. That's just the way he is. He's a sensitive cat. And when it comes to this stuff, don't surprise me anymore with Kevin Durant. And I heard a story. I don't know, Stephen A. Smith that kind of said, I think he said something about his wife or something. And that's kind of where, like, they were thinking Michael Rappaport was like, at that point, when you start talking about my wife, all bets was off. But still in all, bruh, you are a grown man making millions of thousands, hundreds of millions and millions of dollars. You got this big platform, you arguably top 2-3 players in the NBA, in the world, not just the NBA, in the world. Dude, why are you entertaining Michael Rappaport? If I had anything to say or any discuss in it, it would be that. It's Michael Rappaport. I know he's famous, but he ain't you, Kevin Durant. Let's just be honest about it.
Yeah, he barely famous. Michael Rappaport is barely famous.
You know, people know him and he's been around, and it's only because he's been around for a long time. Like, you ain't Kevin Durant. He is not even on your scale for you to even go down to be arguing with this dude.
Yeah, it was bad on Kevin Durant as far as his decision. Now, it should have been private. It should have stayed private. You know,
right.
Hopefully this dude grow from this, because you're right. It don't surprise me that Kevin Durant again is in the news because he's making comments about stuff on social media. But this dude just shows a lack of maturity. You know, just shows a lack of maturity, because that's what it is. Like, that, not having the ability to ignore stuff and walk away from it, having the need to always have to say something, that is a sign of immaturity. And hopefully this is what it took for him to realize, I need to slow down, I need to back up, you know, and kind of like reevaluate how I handle things. Because I would like to think that this will be the last time we hear about Kevin Durant in the news for some social media bullshit.
It will not be, because that's one thing about Kevin Durant that they talked about. Kevin Durant is one of those few players, like high profile players, is very interactive with his fans and stuff on social media, but for the good and the bad. You know, he's just very interactive. He likes to interact with his people. He's more of a down to earth type of guy. When you're talking to Kevin Durant on social media, Kevin Durant, don't think about it this way. He doesn't come at you like he's a famous player. He doesn't carry himself on social media like, I'm Kevin Durant, like you should. He acts just like any other regular person that has feelings, that has, you know, even though he is high profile, and you got to realize that he doesn't carry himself like that. And that's the flip side to it, because you can have the positives and negatives to that.
Yeah, I agree. So moving on to further NBA news, the basketball season is still in full effect. And, you know, one of these, the conversation keeps changing week to week about who's going to be the NBA MVP. You know, of course, Embiid was the front runner. Not my front runner. LeBron has been my front runner, but Embiid was the front runner as far as MVP in most people's eyes. Then he got hurt, and then it became LeBron. Some people said Harden, but then LeBron got hurt. And then now most people were saying Harden, but maybe not, only because people are holding it against him because of how he started off the year with Houston. He tanked on him, not tanked, but he basically quit on him. So people are looking at that. But as far as basketball play, a lot of people are talking about Harden. Then he got hurt. Now, who knows how long that's going to be, but he's still out. He's out again today. So, you know, who's going to be the MVP, man? I mean, Embiid came back yesterday, played well in limited minutes, you know, 28 minutes, which is limited for him. So let's have that conversation, man. Who is your MVP and why? So I can pick that apart and tell you why you're wrong.
I like that. Well, look, I got a surprise one for you. I think it's gonna be hard for you to argue this one, but my truth right now, if I had to pick an MVP, my MVP is Chris Paul.
Shoot.
Chris Paul is my MVP. My reason for that is we saw what he did last year in OKC, okay? And we all noticed it. And we're like, okay, yeah, it is CP3. He's an engineer. The only thing, but look, Steven Adams is a great player. But really the only thing that changed with OKC this year is Chris Paul. The major thing. And look at them versus what they were. Now, think about Phoenix and what they were last year and what they are now, and the one thing that changed. Literally, besides the coach, but one thing changed in Phoenix. Chris Paul. They are a top 4 team in the Western Conference that has LeBron, that has, you know, the Denver Nuggets, has the Clippers with Kawhi, has some of the best players, and they're in the argument. They're in the top 4. You know, could possibly move up from there. I don't think there's anything that's been more consistent and a more consistent player this year than Chris Paul.
Yeah, but you're wrong because there has been a more consistent player than Chris Paul.
I want to hear it.
His name is Damian Lillard.
What?
It's Dame time. I'm gonna give you Dame time right now. Damian Lillard has been carrying a team that's had his second best player hurt, has this third best player hurt, and CJ McCollum and Joseph Nurkic. Enes Kanter is not a great center. He can play offense, but he's not a defender. Then you got Derrick Jones. You got an aged Carmelo Anthony. You had a Gary Trent who looks like he's rejuvenated in Toronto. He wasn't playing nearly as good as he was playing in Portland as he's playing in Toronto. With Anthony Simons coming off the bench. Who else you got? I can't even think of the other players. Then some of those players got hurt. Nas Little got hurt. You got Zach Collins, who still is not playing, and he's been that team has been in the playoffs since the beginning. He's been carrying them, keeping them there. He's put them on his back. So he doesn't have the luxury. And they're a 6 seed. They're a 6 seed. Phoenix is a 2 seed, but that's a 4-game difference. So don't let the seeds fool you. 4-game difference, not a lot. That West is like right there. Sees pretty much 1 through 6. They're like right there. It's like a 6-game difference total, 6-7 game difference. So when you look at what Damian Lillard has to work with, what he has to do to carry his team and keep them afloat, like Chris Paul is great. Chris Paul is doing good. I agree with you that he's definitely in the running. He's definitely somebody we should be mentioning. But Chris Paul ain't putting up 50 burgers with 10 assists. Chris Paul ain't, just carrying his team, and like he's the leader, but Devin Booker is the best player on that team. Devin Booker is the one that leads in scoring, so, and not to mention, yes, they have a new coach. You said that's the only thing they had different besides Chris Paul, but that's huge. A coach can change a culture. And then the second thing is they started really playing well at the end of last year in the bubble. They went undefeated in the bubble. They were like 1 game away from making the playoffs because another team had to lose. So that carryover also has something to do with it. I give Chris Paul all the credit in the world for helping change their culture as well. But Phoenix, they while he's a good pick, I think Dame Lillard got this. If things don't, Embiid still could be in the running. You know what I'm saying? Embiid is having a wonderful year. If he keeps things going the way he was, it's not maybe not even a conversation. LeBron, I don't think he's going to be back in time enough for us to be able to say he's going to do it. Harden may get it. But I think Dame is right there with those two.
To me, saying Dame is the MVP is like saying Steph Curry is in the running for MVP. He's doing the same thing with less, with nothing. And then correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Dame Lillard hurt at the beginning of the year and CJ McCollum was carrying that team? Am I wrong about that?
Dame Lillard maybe he missed a few games. Yeah, if you talking about
he missed like a week or two.
But that's not that much.
Because of fantasy going.
That's about 3 or 4 games though.
But hold on. He's not just carrying his team. And so CJ was winning games too without Damian Lillard. What has he done much different from what Steph Curry doing, putting up 50 burgers, carrying Golden State? I understand there's only a 4-game difference between those seeds, but that still, to me, makes a difference. Phoenix wasn't in the playoffs last year at all. Portland was in the playoffs last year. Phoenix wasn't even a playoff team. Now
and why was Portland in the playoffs?
Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum, several reasons. But my thing is, Phoenix went from a non-playoff team to a number 2 seed in 1 year.
Yes.
With only one player different. Now, I know the coach has a lot to do with it, but the coach don't mean anything if you don't have the guy, the general, to run the team. Devin Booker been there, been scoring the points. He been there. DeAndre Ayton was there. Everybody was there. They had a great point guard, and they had Ricky Rubio. But one thing about Chris Paul, not only he may not put up 50 burgers, but he's probably your best defender too. I guarantee he's probably one of the top 3 in steals, like he always is. One of the best defenders, and he runs that team. I mean, that team is full of young people. They're the number 2 seed in the West. You got to give Chris Paul his love for that, man. They weren't even a playoff team last year.
No, they weren't a playoff team last year. But I don't give Chris Paul and he's not number 3 in steals. He's not even in the top 5.
No,
I just had to pull that up.
No, I said he's somewhere in there. He usually is, but like I'm saying,
this year he's number 14. He's number 14.
But you and I both know. Go look at his defensive player rating. I guarantee you it's up there. He's one of the better defenders in the league. You and I both. He is a good defender.
He is a good defender, and he is a good defender, and he is the general of the team. And the coach, I give more credit to than Chris Paul for the team playing defense, because that's not something that Chris Paul did just because of his presence. So I got to give, if anything, I'll give the coach of the year. And like I said, Chris Paul is somebody who is in the running. Chris Paul is somebody that's in the running.
Are they in the playoffs?
Well, hold on that team? But I think possibly so, because of how they, like I said, they went 8-0 in the bubble. They played perfectly to make the playoffs. They needed one team to lose. The reason they didn't make it is not because of anything that they didn't do. They came on strong. Who's to say that didn't continue? Would it continue with a number 2 seed? Maybe not, but definitely in the playoffs, yes. They would definitely be in this year's playoffs in that 1 through 8. Of course I can't guarantee it, because it's impossible to guarantee. But to talk about Steph Curry, you're right. Steph Curry is in the same exact situation that Lillard was in. The difference is Golden State is 23 and 26.
Well, before he got hurt just recently, they were right behind Portland in the 7th seed of the playoffs before he just got hurt and hurt his back. So I mean,
they were in the 7th seed, but they were about 5. They were in the 7th seed, but they were about 4 or 5 games behind Portland, even in the 7th seed. The 7th seed right now is 20. The 7th seed is 27 and 31, which is Dallas. Portland is 30 and 19. Golden State is 23 and 26. So Curry missed about 3 games. So it wasn't like they were right behind Portland. They may have been right behind them. But they weren't right behind Portland.
You said Portland is 30 and 19?
Yes.
And so yes. I'll give you that. But
so when I say it's a 4-game difference, it's because Phoenix is 34 and 14.
I just can't give that all to Dame. I feel like Dame got plenty of help. Like, it ain't like CJ McCollum been out the whole year and just come back.
CJ McCollum has missed over a month of basketball.
A month. There's been LeBron. There's been 4 months of basketball.
Lonnie. Well, I say a month. It's actually been more than a month. CJ McCollum ain't played since January. So it's actually been more than a month. But I will say this to my month comment. LeBron hasn't been out a month, and look how the Lakers are slowly falling down the ranks. They were number 1 when LeBron went out. They're like number 4 now. So a lot can change in a month, but it's actually been more than a month. CJ McCollum hasn't played since January. He has been keeping that team afloat. Like, Nurkic just came back a week ago. You know what I'm saying? So like when you look at, like, who would you rather have if you take Dame's team with McCollum out and Nurkic out, and you take the Suns, if you take Chris Paul, which team would you rather be on if you was Chris Paul?
You telling me I would rather
if you had no McCollum, no Nurkic, how would you rather be on Portland when Phoenix has Devin Booker?
I still got Melo. I still got Robert Covington. I still got good players. Gary Trent.
No. I didn't say those players were good. You would rather have hold on. You would rather have Enes Kanter, Robert Covington, Carmelo Anthony over Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Cameron Payne, Jay Crowder. All those players are, look, you got solid role players. He has an up-and-coming center. He has a superstar shooting guard. Come on, Lonnie. Come on now.
Bro, the thing is, like I said, I would be with you 100% if CJ McCollum had missed all year. He missed, like you say, he missed like a little over a month. I mean, they still had a pretty good record before he got out, and they were losing without him. I mean, Dame has carried them and kept them afloat, but it ain't like the boy just they went on like a 10-11-0 run. He ain't been doing what James Harden been doing in Brooklyn.
Well, you're right. That's why I prefaced this with those 3 players being hurt. Because if those 3 players weren't hurt, neither one of these players we're talking about would be in the conversation. Our conversation. I find it very hard pressed.
I still think Chris Paul should be.
So you're telling me that you think Chris Paul
he never gets the accolades, and that's why I segue with what he did in OKC last year too. Because nobody pays attention to the value this guy brings to a team.
Look, this is not a sympathy award. Chris Paul has been great, but MVP is for the best person during that year. And Chris Paul has had 1 year where he should have got it, and he got robbed. And that's when he was with New Orleans. Outside of that, Chris Paul never should have won the MVP. He had years where he was in the running, but he never should have won it. So I'm not going to say that he should get it this year because he's been overlooked. He hasn't been overlooked except that one time. He is not Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant won the year Kobe Bryant won it. He wasn't the best in the league that year, but it was more like a lifetime achievement because he did get passed over several times when he should have got it. Chris Paul ain't that. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I think Chris Paul is great. Chris Paul definitely would not be in the conversation if Embiid never got hurt, if LeBron never got hurt. You would come on now. You wouldn't be saying no. So that's what I was saying earlier. Like if those guys would have never got hurt, neither one of us would be talking about Chris Paul.
I would still say Chris Paul was in the top 3, even with Dame. I mean, even with LeBron them playing, I would say he would have been top 3.
I think if we did a poll of 10 million people,
because I say most valuable player to your team. He is the most valuable. You take Chris Paul off of the Suns, I don't think they're even close to a number 2 seed.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. You take Chris Paul off of the Suns and you take Dame Lillard off of Portland.
I've already made that argument. I think Portland would still be a playoff team with CJ McCollum healthy. We saw it.
No. I wasn't going to say playoff team because I think Phoenix would be a playoff team this year without Chris Paul. I do believe that they'll be sitting around at 6, 7, 8. They like you said, like you looked at Chris Paul last year and liking what he's doing this year to what he did with OKC. I liken last year what Phoenix did to carrying over this year as well. I don't 100% give Chris Paul all the credit for what they're doing this year. If Phoenix would have played terrible and looked like crap at the end of the season, then I'd be like, you know what, Chris Paul, yes, him alone and maybe the coach deserves all the credit. Phoenix was on fire in the bubble.
During the bubble?
Like they were on fire. They were killing it. So I gotta believe that part of that is why they're doing good now, along with Chris Paul and along with the coach. To me, it's a 3-headed reason as to why they're doing well, not just Chris Paul, which is why I can't give him the MVP. So we've been talking about this, but go ahead, make your last point.
I'll give you that. No, I will say most teams usually have a multiple of things that happen for them to end up getting the MVP. But I'll give you that. I think it was a good argument. I think honestly, I don't think you could go wrong with either one of them. I think both of them are equally as valuable to their teams, and without either one of them on their teams, neither one of their teams are even contenders. I mean, they're playoff teams, but when we talk about playoff teams, I mean really when I say a playoff team, I mean really gonna compete for the playoffs, not just make it.
Yeah,
really compete. So, but no, I agree with you 100%. But like I say, it's still Chris Paul.
Let's move on. So we're at the end of basketball season for college, and the Final Four is this weekend. The college championship, I think it's Monday. I could be a little bit off, but it's coming up. So in the college championship, we're gonna have Baylor University versus Gonzaga. But I mean, before we even talk about who we think will win that game, did you see the Gonzaga versus UCLA game last night?
Bro, I didn't see it, but I saw the end. I didn't watch the whole game, but I saw the finale. And to be honest with you, I'm probably going to go rewatch that game because I heard it's going to be one of those instant classics. It was that good.
It was a extremely good game. So first of all, I want to give a shout out to So the championship game is tomorrow, like I said. Yeah. So I want to shout out UCLA. UCLA got in through a play-in game. They had to play. They got into a playing game, and then they absolutely, played incredible all the way up until the yesterday against Gonzaga. Not all the way up until even in that game. The game went to overtime. It should have went to double overtime, but Jalen Suggs, who will be the number 1 pick in the draft, the number 1 point guard in the country, freshman point guard for Gonzaga, shoots this half court, well not half court, but shoots a buzzer beater, 3-pointer, and wins the game for Gonzaga. I don't know. I don't. It's not much that I can just say outside of it was an amazing game. Drew Tim, he's gonna be playing in the NBA next year. Jay Ayayi is going to be playing in NBA next year. Jalen Suggs going to be playing in NBA next year. Corey Kispert going to be playing in NBA next year. Like, they have a starting five that's all NBA players, Gonzaga. They are amazing. Right. And what UCLA was able to do in that game, they played Gonzaga the way that nobody else has been able to play them this year. And for a second, many people thought that Gonzaga may be going home, but the incredible story for Gonzaga continues. They will be playing Baylor University on Monday. That's my pick to win it all. Gonzaga. My bracket was busted, but I got one play right, which a lot of people probably did, because it wasn't hard to pick Gonzaga. But it's gonna be a good one. Baylor is no joke. They have a couple of superstar talents that in the making, not in the making, but in college, and superstar talents in college who will be playing at the NBA level next year, probably top 10 players. So it's gonna be a good game. If you didn't catch the Final Four games, definitely catch the game tomorrow. So yeah, Gonzaga, that UCLA, that was a
man, that's
game.
Crazy.
Definitely a classic.
I'm definitely give a big shout out to Baylor. I saw a stat yesterday that said, which is sucks for Houston's coach. It's a heck of a time to take your first loss, but the Houston's coach, because they're basically rivals, kind of home state. 22-1 against Baylor. That one was that Final Four loss. He had never lost to Baylor in his coaching career since he had been at Houston. So big ups to Baylor for that.
Yeah, he didn't play Baylor this year. Baylor's a beast this year. They've been a top team all year.
I don't think lost 2 games.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thought Houston was going to win that game. Houston has had a great season, one of their better seasons in a long time. They were number 2 seed, but nobody thought Houston was going to beat Baylor. I didn't think Baylor was going to beat the dog crap out of them.
Yeah, but
they beat them pretty bad. But I didn't think Baylor was going to lose.
When you have rivalry games, they can get a little dicey. Especially when it's a team you hadn't beaten in 22 straight games. Yeah. So sometimes those things can, mess with you mentally. But I'm gonna tell you the dude I got to shout out, bro. I can't even think. I can't think of the name. Oh boy, from UCLA, Asian American.
Johnny
I can't say his name right, but dude is the truth.
Yeah, he good.
You talking about building up a draft stock? Shooting from nobody know who you are to being you gonna be a top 5 lottery pick. He did that.
Yeah, that's what's great about NCAA.
And like I said, the tournament is what he did the same thing for Steph Curry. But watching this cat, they couldn't. No, that's why they took Gonzaga to the wire. Nobody could stop him. He was like 13 or 16 for 29 points. Like you said, he was playing against basically 5 NBA players. And, he's another one because he was making it look real easy. Like, he the one tied the game up right at the end of the overtime before Suggs came back and hit the shot. He missed the layup. We got the rebound and laid it back up with, 3 seconds left?
Yeah.
Dude,
exactly. Yeah, he the one that tied the game. Before,
something serious, man. Yeah. He single-handedly by himself. It reminded me of that run of Steph Curry with Davidson. He single-handedly took UCLA all the way to the Final Four.
Yeah, he did.
So big shouts out to him.
So moving on, Major League Baseball season opener was April 1st. We are back in the swing of things with baseball. So real quick, we're not gonna talk too much about baseball. We're about to get out of here, but real quick, just spur of the moment, top of your head, who's gonna win the World Series?
Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, okay. Dodgers all day. I know that's an easy pick,
you gonna
but
do
they loaded.
like that?
They
like
loaded,
that?
Man. It's like, number one, the Dodgers and the Yankees been my team since I could
know.
walk.
I didn't want to pick them again.
But the Dodgers, but how can you not? Let's start.
I know.
Mike Muncy, Justin Turner, Will Smith, Cody Bellinger, Corey Seager, Mookie Betts, AJ Pollock. Oh my God, they are loaded. Absolutely loaded. And I ain't even started with the pitchers. you know, they loaded on both sides. I mean,
You don't have to. They're so loaded, you don't even have to name the pitchers.
Yeah. But
No,
we definitely will see. I
kind of already knew that, but you know, I'm trying to be contrary.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's just, bro, it's almost unfair at this point. I mean, they were the favorites last year, and they got 10 times better.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
But yeah, Dodgers. I'm wishing for a Dodgers-Yankee World Series. I was hoping to get it last year. It didn't quite work out, but I'm hoping to get it this year. That would be a dream for me to just be like, okay, who win? They both my teams. You know, just enjoy watching my two favorite teams since I was a kid playing each other in the World Series. So before we get out of here, I think it's obvious who holding L's this week. Between Michael Rappaport or Kevin Durant, either one. I choose Michael Rappaport. We've talked about the situation. I think Kevin Durant has a lot to learn. He needs to grow up, be more mature. He could have done things differently, but Michael Rappaport, you a snitch, dude, for life.
Yeah, he broke every man code. The L definitely goes to Michael Rappaport. No matter, I don't care what Kevin Durant told you. You broke the G code. When you broke the G code, you broke the man code. You get no love. You got a whole L. You hold an L for the rest of the year. Like, you're gonna be on my L list the rest of the year along with someone else. You're never coming off the L list. You're there forever.
Already. Well, that's all we got for today. Remember to like, subscribe, share. We appreciate everybody for giving us the time to listen to our podcast. You got anything before we get out of here, man?
Oh, no, I don't have a lot. Just to kind of piggyback on what you said. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate you guys, and keep liking, subscribing, tuning in. We're going to keep giving you the greatest information we can.
All right. Hold us there.
Later.